I am not going to explain what a Souls-like is. You roll, you wait, you hit, you get hit, and you die. That's it. There's a nice green bar under your health bar to signal how much you get to do stuff, and when you do die, you drop something you've been collecting for hours. A formula to make millions. Approximately 928 millions, to be exact. Enough money for From Software to make everyone open their eyes to a brand new experience. Much like any other genre available on the market. But for some reason this one is different. We don't talk about genres with the same intensity as Souls-likes. It has become a term so deteriorated due to overexposure and saturation that even 8 years ago, people used to claim Crash as a Souls-like.
Crash Bandicoot! It's just like Dark Souls! You guys just can't stop, can you?
We really failed as a society, huh? But the innovation was so sudden and so practical that it felt like a new way to make games altogether. So it took quite a while to polish what exactly the term meant and where to use it. And this opened the gates to hundreds of thousands of other developers to want their own Dark Souls, their own version of that which made From Software so famous and bloody rich. You get some checkpoint-based respawns, punishing combat, a progression system based around defeating bosses, and boom! In no time you have your own Dark Souls. Even when they don't even look alike, the term seems to fit like a glove. So it's not that it's easy to make, it's that the formula is easy to digest. Anyone can turn on a stream and immediately enjoy it. You get joy out of streamers rage quitting it. You rejoice with them as they earn their victories. Unless they play mage. Then they're a bunch of pussy. Souls-like serves as the perfect game for anyone who ranges from a casual to a veteran to enjoy. Funnily enough, the game design that has been adequately renamed to Soulslop is one that reaches people from all places. From the beginning, this phenomenon was able to be so impactful you simply couldn't escape it over how influential it was. You got Only Afro's videos with meme builds, the Prold making impressive FMVs, the discourse of Dark Souls 2 being good or shit still going on even after 12 years. Bloodborne fans still waiting for that port to PC over all social media, Sekiro winning Game of the Year, and Elden Ring being one of the best-selling games of all times. And guys, Let Me Solo Her has a tribute rap music. With 20 million views? Yeah, that checks out. It gets to a point where devs stop seeing games and they start seeing dollar signs. Same for content creators. People crave for content similar to that because at the end of the day, it created its own ecosystem. This new genre of games is so influential you can't blame the pursuit over the same spark, the same dopamine hit. But much like everything, it gets to a point where it will eventually start to cool off. And that's why in the past few years there has been a growing criticism on the genre or anything that tries to imitate it. The difficulty spikes, the unnecessary life bars, and so on. This abundance led to a design stagnation. People see a new game, but as soon as the character faces a huge boss and suddenly the character dodges and hits, they immediately turn it off. Of course, not all, but a significant number of people. And I mean, can you blame the devs or the audience? Why fix what isn't broken? As long as anything draws numbers, the same thing will keep popping out. That's how any market works. All its subsequent children made money and were highly discussed online. People underestimate the simple fact that normies will play pretty much anything that comes out from big companies. Have you seen the numbers Assassin's Creed 4 Remake made? We really lost any sense of critical thinking. But let's not stray away. This is not me attacking the genre or the audience. I always enjoyed Souls-likes. It would be hypocritical of me to put it like that. Dark Souls 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. It made me look at games from a completely different angle, like I never did before. The confusing beginning against the Asylum Demon and taking that plunge, the descent into the hellhole that is Blighttown, the chills I got arriving at Honor Londo, defeating Ornstein and Smoke, not being able to save Onion Bro and Solaire, seeing Guinevere's tits for the first time, damn, such beautiful moments. And that is why we kept seeing games simulate the formula. Those moments stick with you. That's what makes a single player experience so memorable. So yeah, every genre goes through that phase. Doesn't matter the time we live on, we will always see breakthroughs that dictate the new norm until it loses its spark. Just check my shooters video for more on that. But what is strange isn't that Dark Souls became influential. What's strange is what it replaced. You see, there used to be no norm to create action RPGs. The Witcher, Elder Scrolls, and Zelda all played extremely different, but those types of combat have been almost forgotten, save a few exceptions. But there is one that could be considered one of the fathers of action RPGs, one that could arguably be called the fastest action-oriented game genre since its roots, and that is hack and slash. Alright, let's get this out of the way. Devil May Cry, Ninja Gaiden, OG God of War, Bayonetta, and tons of others suffer from the debate whether they have a tag on RPG or not. But that doesn't matter. Fuck that shit. I could easily replace with titles that fit, but for the sake of clarity and reference, I choose to stick with the big daddies. And if there's one way to bring this discussion up, is that Souls-likes have yet to break their limited presentation of combat. This discussion being, why did we grow so invested in restriction rather than expression? It's not that Souls-likes aren't cool or linear, they have their own sauce. But they are not power fantasies in essence, they are the complete opposite. They thrive on victory earned through persistence, while hack and slash are inherently about dog walking your enemy while having fun. Both can be extremely challenging. I'd argue hack and slashers to be even harder when they are at their peak, but the idea is that one emphasizes grounded action where the other abuses the fantastical. They adverse each other by nature on how much you can extract of those games. For example, showing how a combat flows within YS is insane. You have so much fluidity in every movement in the last games that they feel like a dance. The amount of cool action and how over the top they feel. The design Falcom followed was to make sure the players that give their time have to be rewarded with this cutscene-like combo movement. Hell, even if I took something like Kingdom Hearts and showed the potential this franchise could give, you'd be shocked. And this formula is being followed to this day. After all, in the big leagues, we still got Kazan and Stellar Blade in recent years. And if you live in the gacha community, you know that the arrival of Genshin Impact back in the day was a controversial approach with open worlds, mechanics, and extensions. Now look at their revenue and how many others took inspiration on that to make it their own, much like Souls-likes did to Dark Souls, inspiring the new genre Genshin-like. All of these games dive into expression, explosive combat, and beautiful display of gameplay mechanics. So why? Yet again I ask, why Souls-likes became the standard of game design? Well, the reason is there, right at the end of what I said. Gameplay mechanics. The more expressive an action game gets, the harder to design, balance, teach, and appreciate it becomes. To underline the point, a basic thing needs to be said. Most people suck at playing games, like they really suck at it. So when a game's biggest reward system comes from mechanical output, you filter out a majority of the audience. The thesis isn't that hack and slash is harder than every Souls-like, but the enjoyment factor many times comes from investment. You could finish every single one by merely button mashing, just learning one or two simple combos and using it for the majority of the game. But to extract everything out of these games, it takes effort and time. Lots and lots of time. And unless you do that, it gets really hard to appreciate the gameplay side of a video game, you know. The learning curve from Souls-likes are to dodge better, hit when the time is right, learn to control stamina, heal less. But the gameplay loop between the newbie and the master are often very similar. You could see a pro who gave their full time and attention to Dark Souls and someone who plays it casually, and their gameplay would be only timed differently, different builds and positioning. However, the gameplay style of a starting player in DMC and one that has been playing it for years is vastly different. It's like they're playing different games. Because let's be honest, if it was a matter of difficulty, sorry, but Ninja Gaiden 2 clears on difficulty. But the real matter of discussion is that, objectively speaking, is that Souls formula gives a safer foundation to build from. Designing games based off Dark Souls take less creative risks than one based off other action RPG styles when making their own combat systems. The mechanics are there, the extent, the pacing is easy to keep up, and so on. In the West especially, Souls have become this default reference point for action RPG combat, while Eastern studios take some time to explore their franchises in Tales of, YS, and all the gacha are all tending toward a new flasher presentation. And I mean, flasher does not equate to high skill ceiling. They just carry a higher creative ceiling. Hack and slashers are broader in style than Souls-like ever felt. Something like Tales of Berseria will never be on par with Bayonetta in terms of skill, although both belong to the same tag and could theoretically appease the same audience in more ways than purely gameplay. But again, how long ago was the last time someone mentioned Bayonetta? When was DMC discussed in games and not shitty adaptations? God of War has been butchered and rebranded into a whole different category. Ninja Gaiden 4 came out and it was not even relevant after a decade frozen. All the influences have been sidelined. It's not even that we are lacking variety in RPGs, since you could open any store and find dozens of different styles to venture on. Turn-based RPGs are still huge. But then again, how many of them get the same relevancy than one that has such a profitable signature? So this giant megazord of accessibility, skill expression, developer incentives, streaming culture, genre influence, combat philosophy, market trends, dormant franchises, player psychology aligned with what offers a faster reward all culminates in Souls-likes dominating the scenario. The industry deliberately chose a design, making the other gaming genres almost obsolete. Truly a devastating thing to have happened. So what I'm trying to say is that this video isn't about Souls-likes. I just wanted to say that we need a porn hack and slash